Good morning, guys. This is Richard back at you. Thursday morning, past the hump day. Beautiful outside. But we got Newton's 2007 SS Trailblazer in the house, 6.0. Beautiful vehicle. I believe he bought this not too long ago, but he had to have the tranny rebuilt already. And it's already down. Now, it does have a painted converter, some type of aftermarket converter there. We can tell the tranny is, I can't tell, it's got some type of paint job on it. It's all fallen off, so we really don't know a lot about it. But he does have a work order here with it, and I don't know what, I'm not going to show you any information or anything, but it don't make sense. None of it really makes sense. But it does have an ignition code, like a power failure, something like that. So we're going to be putting the electronic part of the ignition switch in the column, not the key part, but the electronic part, because 90% of the time that's what that code's about. So 2007 6.0 SS Trailblazer all-wheel drive. Let's get this thing apart. This is what I love the most, is taking them apart and just seeing what somebody else did. Nasty through there. Now we do have got fluid in the connector here. You can see that. So we got a new wiring harness sitting over here behind us on the bench that we're going to be putting in it. This is a really nice vehicle. And we do have a Corvette servo. We can see that's in there. I'm not sure if that's on his ticket or if they charge him for it, whatever, but it does have one in there. Like I said, doesn't mean that it's good. A lot of times they have a lot of pin wear in the servo and stuff where you have to replace it anyway. I did have issues getting the bell housing bolts out. I had to chisel one, so there's only one left in here. Which I threw it in the trash can. It's not even there. So now they did put some sealant on all the bolts. You can just see fluid always pours out of these bottom ones here. This is where all the pressure goes through the pump into the case area. So you know, for an SS Trailblazer, you definitely don't want to put these back stock.
Dang.
Woo!
She's shiny. I mean, really shiny.
That's pretty there. I'd like to have a paint job that looks that pretty.
I'm telling you, that's really shiny.
So we definitely got something going on in the tranny. We'll look and see if that's a converter metal or planetary metal or whatever.
Yeah,
Definitely got metal in the filter.
Yeah, that's not good.
Now this thing come in with the pump whining like crazy. I mean, it was whining like crazy. Didn't want to start it. Now this does have an input speed sensor. Here's the connector for it. Your 3-2 downshift solenoid, your PWM solenoid here. This tranny, this won't even be the same when it leaves here at all.
No, it won't have any metal in it anymore.
Yeah, it definitely won't have no metal. And it's going to work really nice. Let me try to stop that noise there a little bit. Got our 3 long 10mm bolts that hold our pillow switch on. Our 2 8mm. And we have our pillow switch, it's just full of metal too. Just full of it. And we have all of our 10mm. This one here looks a little shorter. You notice how that didn't, see how these are tall? Is this a shorter bolt? Is there something wrong with the case? So we definitely want to go in there and look and see if the threads are missing in this part of the case down here, because that bolt shouldn't be setting that low down in there. Now if this one here, if you stick in one of these longer ones, it'll physically go all the way through and touch the drum spinning on the inside. So you never want to put a longer bolt in there. You want to repair the threads. So we definitely got an issue going on here. We'll look there real quick. Get the valve body off. Now you can see here, let's just check these check balls. One went there, one went here. You can see here that, of course, the one that always has an issue, which we always go back the same way. We put a rubber one in this area, metal ones through here, or rubber too. Now it looks like it's had some shift kit work done to it. I can tell the plate's been drilled. Let me get this plate. Look at all the metal in here, guys. Do you see all that metal on that valve body plate? Let's look and see what we got here. Okay. But anyway, if you look at this check ball location here, you can see this hole here. It's been enlarged for your 2nd gear feed. Your 3rd gear feed right here has been enlarged, and you definitely can see your 4th gear feed here has been enlarged. So if you don't know which holes these are, you can get on Sonex's plate drilling instruction page. Just get on there and Google it, and it'll come up, and you can scroll down, and it'll show you every hole in every transmission plate where you can drill them out to make them better. Now, some of them don't give you size. They give you where the hole is at, what the hole does. So you just have to figure out which hole or what size the hole you want it to be, because they don't offer that information in there that I have found yet. So
should they have drilled out all those holes? That's okay.
I mean, I would have, yeah. I mean, this, even though it's stock, now you got to be careful, because we're going back with a stock converter. We're not going back with a high stall or anything like that. So any type of modifications you do here, Corvette servo and stuff like that, it's going to firmen up the shift a ton, because you have no stall in the converter to soak up the firmness of the shift. So you got to be careful there, because then you start getting into customer complaints and all that stuff, because a lot of people just don't like that hammer type shift. So I'll probably go get another plate, because these holes are really big. Here, look here, Teresa. Look here, you can see them now since I kind of blowed it off. See how big them are? That's about the size of a needle factory. That's even half that size. Same way here, half that size. So we'll go find another plate that's original, and then we'll drill the plates to what we think it needs to be. So. A lot of people's mottos, bigger is better. In transmissions, when it start drilling these holes out and stuff, bigger is not better. Now on this accumulator, intermediate accumulator, you want to Scotch-Brite all this up here. You definitely want to use a new piston. This is a new style. It's got the longer shank. All of our stuff just come in yesterday. We just bought a bunch of this stuff again. We go through it like crazy, because we replace all of our accumulator pistons, from the forward to all of them. Let's see if a lot of people are using my ideas now to block this stuff, so that's really good. And this could be, hopefully it is, that'll make me happy. No, he didn't. He used a shift kit blocker, or just a washer. No, it's down there. He did it. Hey, he did it.
Look at that.
Hey, good idea. Hopefully he used my idea. He took the washer, like I always say to do. Put that in there like that. That way you don't beat the check ball down here in the case and just to ruin the case, because once you do that, you can't ever get that out. But I would have put both seals on the piston. I wouldn't have left one blank. I would have just sealed them up on both ends. Of course, like I said, we have fluid in the connector, so we're going to get rid of that. We have one check ball here we always put back in. Our parking mechanism. Turn it. Move that out of the way. Get to that. Got our lockup O-ring here. Now you can see here it's got your thrust washer, got your speed sensor. Now, the speed sensor is a cool idea, but the problem I don't like about it is it covers up your boost valve, the connector does. So once you put a 500 boost valve in here, you're committed. So if you've got too firm of shifts and your Corvette servo don't fix it, by taking it out, you got to go back, pull that boost valve out, you're in trouble. So we've learned to really, on these here, probably not put a boost valve in. Just go with the biggest factory boost valve and then work it over without using the boost valve. Because once you put it in there, you ain't going back once the tranny's in the vehicle. I'll look here for any wear. I'm shocked this ain't just wiped out.
Yeah, me too.
Of course, we'll get our boost valve out here. Now, this late style that has this connector over it, it's a totally different style valve, stator body. So it's got a groove in here for the wiring to go through. The boost valve assembly is shorter. I think we're stuck there for a second. Something's missing though, unless it fell out and rolled. Normally on this style boost valve, there's a little white washer. It's actually aluminum washer, I guess, but it sets right on top of here. But it's not there, so I don't
see anything.
I didn't see it fall out. But that was stuck.
Yeah, I bet it was.
So I got a new boost valve kit over there that has the washer. I could show you, but my gloves are just too dirty for me to go grab it. But we'll pull this out and put the factory 5 groove or 5 land type boost valve back in there. That way we know that we're not going to have to go back in it and if it just shifts way too firm, because you can make it shift way too firm very easy. Now you can come in here and just look at the metal.
Oh yeah, it's got some.
Look at that. So if you come here and look at the pump body, I mean, it's just destroyed.
Oh wow, you can hear it.
Cone style pump slide spring. None of this stuff was, it's got a lot of miles on it if it was new. And I don't know how many miles this unit's got on it since it's been rebuilt, but for that type of wear, there ain't no way. You'd have to have hundreds of thousands of miles on it. Same way with this pump slide. Your pivot pin, it's wore out too. Like I said, a lot of guys, they'll put a bushing, or excuse me, they'll put a pump bushing in a front seal, put it together and call it a rebuilt pump. I mean, I see that all the time. And a physically rebuilt pump is to check everything, new bushing seal, new slide, new vane kit, new bushings, everything through this pump. That's called a rebuilt pump. But just to replace 2 things and say it's a rebuilt pump, and we see it. Now you notice it's a PWM style, pulse width modulating. Now it is a 13 vane, and it has no groove for the seal right here. It's got a hard seal instead of a soft seal. So definitely going to need a new pump body. Going to have to come here and check this out really good. Check it everywhere. And of course, if you look here, these are factory bushings. So they weren't even replaced on the rebuild. So, I mean, we just see it all the time, and it's sad.
So this says on that paperwork, the only thing that it says is billet shaft, and then there is no more itemization. Can you see anything like that yet?
We'll get in here. They said it has a billet shaft?
It says it has a billet shaft.
A billet shaft. It's got a nice new drum. This is an aftermarket style drum. I can tell just by the bushings and stuff the way they look. Drum looks really good still. Put that together right. This drum here, these clutches here, you always want to leave them loose. You never want to tighten them up or anything like that. It's your reverse clutch. 4 clutches. A lot of times they just feel really loose. You don't want to tighten it all, just leave it loose. Just put the factory clutch pack in there and stuff. Now you can see our counter for our speed sensor. Our speed sensor. Of course, this bearing right here, I always talk about this bearing, is real critical for making whining noises in park and neutral. You think it's a pump or something, so you got to always check that. Drum looks really good around here. No wear where the bevel plate's been cutting or anything like that. Of course, we're probably not going to have no load springs in here. So if there's no load springs in here, then this gentleman that was rebuilding this tranny had no business of being in this tranny. None at all. And there's not. That's why you have your clutch pack here burn up and your big old band brand new.
What?
That's like that because this is a...
Because there's no load springs.
Because there's no load springs. It happens a lot. And people don't realize what that load spring physically does.
Wow.
So you got to remember, in second gear, this band's on. When third gear comes on, this band has to come off and this clutch has to come on. So it's a timing issue. The bigger the band, the slower this band's going to come off because of the surface area to let go. Well, this clutch is going to come on faster than this band can let go, especially when you put a bigger band. So we've learned here that we never put a big band with a 6 clutch pack, ever.
But why, without the load springs?
What that does is the load springs will actually slow this clutch down. And it don't have to slow it down much, but just a millisecond, slow the apply on and give this big band time to get out of there. And it's just milliseconds. But after so many milliseconds of driving this thing, so many stops and goes, this big band is always going to beat up on this 6 clutch pack. Always. That's why we never use them. We put a Z-pack in every tranny we do here. We've been doing it for 20, 30, since they've come out. I mean, I've had boxes of these clutches because I was buying complete kits and just storing these clutches, and I actually sold them all to B&I because they sell parts. So,
Wow.
But we never do that at all.
Just from load springs.
Just from load springs. You know, back in the day, they said to leave them out, but that was just a thing to make the third gear. We thought was make the third gear firmer, and the clutches would last longer. But actually, it made a problem. So. We have our forward clutches. Like I said, I don't know how many miles is on this unit, but this stuff all looks almost like factory GM stuff a little bit.
It's got 85,444 miles.
Wow.
But I don't know how many since it's been built.
Right. So you want to look at this, make sure there's no chattering. Looks really good. Scotch-Brite that up. Same way here with your outer race. Scotch-Brite that up. This is what I was wanting to get down here and look and see if all the right planetary setup is still in this tranny. If you notice here, it does have a 5-pinion planet, which the SS Trailblazers, the Cadillac Escalades, and stuff like that come out with a 5-pinion planet. Get that out of there.
Sorry. I think that it's something in the fluid because I sneeze when the fluid's got something in it.
I think that's it.
Yeah.
I'll get this.
Something in the nasty fluid.
Hope I can get this snap ring out of there. It ain't liking it at all. Come on. There we go. Of course, we have our roller bearing clutch hub here. We have our 5-pinion planet. Now you notice here on this, the bearing does not center with the planet. It centers with the hub. So it keeps the bearing center. Well, the earlier design, the planet centered the bearing, the hub did not. So they make an early and a late design here. But we're going to look in here and see if this is just wore out, because everything else looks bad. So, of course, you can see the spline wear, both sides. So we know that wasn't replaced. Look at your ring gear, really good on both sides. The teeth there, and of course, same way on your 5-pinion planet. Look for pin discoloration and stuff. It's got a beefy shell here, but I don't know where that's rubbing at right there. Something's going on. I say we don't use these beefy shells like that because they're just so heavy. We'll go back with a factory style hardened shell. We ain't ever broke one of them. And we just don't like to have this much weight spinning locked into this drum right here. So you got to remember, this drum's turning engine RPM. When it comes to the second gear shift, that band has to stop this drum from spinning. So the more weight you add here, the internal weight, just it's way too much. So this almost looks like it's been hot. Kind of hard to check. We replaced 90% of them sun gears right there. I'm glad that went that way, huh?
Yeah, I'm glad that did too. Annie didn't like it though.
Okay. Now here's the low reverse clutch here. Very hot back here in the back. If you notice that I think we're in trouble in some places. Clutches ain't totally burned up. Your lower sprag assembly here. What it looks like here, let's see if this boarding's there. That was there. So I'm thinking probably our cooler line, our cooling system is stopped up with converter metal. And once that happened, our lube oil stopped back here coming into the transmission. And that's why we're starting to see heat. You notice our 5-pinion planet right here is just smoked. Look how purple that is. Not sure if I even have one. The gears still feel decent, but it's hot. Look how hot the pins have been. If you put that back in there, you're crazy. That is junk, junk, junk. Good wall ornament. We might hang it on the wall. Something like that. Bearings toast. Sun gear's been overheated. Ring gear, look how hot that hub got. Look at this bearing. Oh, that bearing's cooked. That bearing's wasted. Ooh, is the case bad? We gotta get down here and look. This bearing's wiped out. Yeah, this thing, what happened is the lubrication oil stopped in this. So that bearing's cooked. Wiped out through here. That thing has just been hot, hot. Even the output shaft, look how hot that's been through here. Well, let's get down in here and look here, because we noticed that the case bushing has moved. Let's take a hand so we can get in this little groove right here and knock that out. See if I can get my tin. Excuse me, Teresa. What we're going to do is get this case cleaned up. See if another bushing is set down in here. If it presses in good and tight, we'll Loctite it down in here. It looks good here with the bearing set still. It doesn't look like the bearing wiped it out. So as long as the bushing goes down the case really nice and tight, we're going to still Loctite it in. That way we know it stays. But it's going to be a little bit more expensive rebuild than I thought it was going to be. And we basically need possibly a complete pump, shell, complete 5-pinion planetary assembly here, output shaft. So,
hey, but the question of the day is, because this says that it has a billet shaft.
well,
It says it on the paper. It says option billet shaft.
you know, this shaft here could be billet.
It says pro torque.
This one here, but this one here definitely is just a stock shaft. This here is just stock. Now this one here does have a little bit of machining. Looks like a little different through here, but we'll have to look at it and see, because there's no wear here. It's just been hot.
I was just
So,
trying
but
to see what he got and what he didn't get.
right. Well, he didn't get much. You know, I haven't looked at his work order or anything like that, but I tell you what, we're gonna have to replace a ton on this unit to even get it back to where we know that it's gonna survive behind that SS Trailblazer, because them things really run really well. So, but Teresa, you know, thank you for recording, definitely. Next time, right? That's what I was thinking. Don't forget to subscribe, guys. Push that notification bell. It's Thursday. Here comes Friday. Have a good day.